Feel the stillness of your body, the stillness of your mind. Remember to breathe deeply in. Feel the air coming in through your nose, filling your lungs, and then out through your mouths. If nothing else, this is your chance to just only feel your breath. Coursing through the body. We have a minute left. Just remember to bring your mind back to your body the second your mind is wandering. About 30 seconds left. Okay, take your final deep breath in through your nose, and then take your final deep breath out slowly, and let it calm your body down. And whenever you are ready, feel free to join us in this room. So we are ready to go. Okay. Cool. Okay, so I think I'm going to, I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to start off with a statement, and then we'll talk through the rest of the stuff, right? So I wrote two interesting ideas, right? First idea is that charisma is passion, right? Well, okay, when you guys think about leaders, right? Like the leaders that you see on TV, et cetera, they always have like charisma, right? And charisma is like synonymous with like having passion, right? And people see it and they want it, but they really don't know what's behind charisma, right? And it's interesting, and the reason why it's interesting is because, and why I'm even referring to this, trying to connect this to leadership is my end goal, anyway. But here's the point. You have leaders, they have charisma, right? And we think charisma is the thing that makes leaders. But it's actually not. It's actually clarity, okay? And so the other statement that I wrote here is that, and this is like ideas that, not original ideas, but ideas that I've overheard in podcasts or whatever. And I thought, hey, that makes sense. And it's applicable to Buddhism, right? You want to, do you guys want to be leaders in life or no? Or do you guys just like, it depends, right? It's not for everybody, right? Some people, it's just not for everybody. People you could either cultivate that skill or you could really, really want it and then like be in charge, right? But in any case, I wrote, clarity is the thing that creates conviction. Conviction leads to action, and action leads to results, right? And the people in life who have clarity, right, they move with purpose and they move with conviction. And when they move with conviction, right, they take actions that bring results. And those are the people who are actually truly leaders, right? Now, when you're a leader, you don't have to be that outside, outright like charismatic person. You could still be a leader in your field if you do what you're supposed to be doing with clear purpose, clear clarity, and you do it right the whole time, right? So, I'll come back to that thought in a second. But then I had a poor transition here, but whatever. I'm just going to go for it, right? So it's brand new year, it's 2025, right? I should have had this lecture maybe a couple of weeks ago, but I just came back. So it's brand new year. We're a little bit older, of course, from last year. We're a little bit smarter, possibly a little bit wiser. That's not only you guys can tell, right? The interesting thing with, you guys are still young, you're in college, you're still growing, right? Still learning, et cetera, right? But when you become an adult, every year it kind of becomes the same year over and over again, right? Sure, some major milestones happen, when you hit a 50th birthday or you buy a house, buy a car, et cetera. But everything's actually routinized, okay? Everything is a routine. You do the same thing day in and day out, right? You wake up, go to your job, go home, do your recreational stuff, and do the same thing over and over again, right? So with that said, right, and I always wonder, why is New Year's such a huge celebration for people? You ever wonder that? People stay up late, they go party, they drink. I'm like, why is this such a big deal? It's December 31st to January 1st, right? But I mean, it's symbolic in nature, and that's why it's a big deal, right? People, they've lived, they made it to another year, right? You're able to add another year to 2025 into your list of years that you've been alive. Great, you've been alive. But then, with the passage of time and New Year's Day, right? People tend to, they're excited because it's a chance for renewal. It's a chance to set goals in life and to, whatever you didn't accomplish last year, now this is your year, right? And it's the same thing with people and weight loss, right? This is my year. I'm gonna, get six-pack abs and get really buff type of deal, right? So that's why New Year's is so important, okay? It's just a mental refreshment. So now, the question is, and I'm going to connect this to Buddhism because it sounds like it's off topic, right? But the question is, what happens to the statistics of people who set New Year's resolution, right? And let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys set New Year's resolution or not? No? You guys don't set any goals for the New Year's at all? You guys don't want to be bigger, better people at the start of the new year? Yeah, well, see, the thing is, yes, the difference between December 31st and January 1st is just one day, right? But oftentimes people wait for a pivotal moment or catastrophe to happen before they change their ways, right? That's usually one case. The other case is, they use an artificial start date, January 1st, to say, okay, time to set goals, time to be a different person. In any case, it's kind of funny, it's kind of silly. I think whether you set goals or not, a lot of adults during New Year's Day, they set goals, right? But the problem with setting these goals is if you had to guess, right? Let's just say the goal of losing weight or something, right? And a bunch of people set these goals every year. What's the failure rate, do you guys think, after January 1st, setting New Year's? Yeah. In fact, the correct answer is actually 80% of adults, conservative estimate, give up on their goals after 1.5 months. So by February 15th, it's over. Whatever goals that you guys set, it doesn't matter. And so it kind of breeds the question, why even set goals at the start if people are just going to not be able to withstand it and survive it and then whatever, right? So, now, here's the connection with Buddhism, right? It's really interesting. The connection with Buddhism is this. Why are we here? Why are we learning Buddhism? What is the end goal? Oh my gosh. Enlightenment, nirvana, right? And it's interesting because it's like one of those end goals that you can't really achieve anyway, especially, so why bother, right? So let me take this conversation back to those 80% who quit. The question is, if there's 80% of people who quit, what about the other 20%? And the question is, we know why, to some extent we can learn about why the 80% quit, right? Because what are a couple of reasons why people quit their goals? You guys know?
Just get lazy.
Yeah, they get lazy. The first time it gets hard, oh no, I can't do this, right? You get lazy, you become forgetful, right? And you quit because you don't even see results. Imagine saying, I want to get buff. You think a month in, you're going to get buff? No. So, oh my gosh, I've been hitting the gym 7 days a week for 4 weeks now. I'm not getting buff. I don't see results, right? Guess what? I'm going to quit, right? And so it's interesting because the inverse of that is figuring out why is it that 20% of people are able to set goals and accomplish their goals, right? And these are I would argue these are leaders in the world, right? Because they have a vision. They say, I see this, I want this, I'm gonna get it. And they keep at it, right? What's their secret? And this, whatever their secret is, it's gonna be connected to Buddhism. Or I'll find a connection. I have it, but this idea, this thought, has been slightly paradigm shifting for me, coming back from my paternity leave, and I kind of want to impart it onto you guys, okay? And here's this idea. It's extremely important to set a goal, any goal, to create a level of clarity in your head, okay? So that's equivalent to that like New Year's resolution. But here's the big insight, which is gonna take you, like, give you a superpower. Just understand where you're going, right? Because the goal that's the point of the goal. It kind of sets the roadmap. It's like, here's the destination that you're going. And you want to marry the pursuit of the goal, but not the outcome of the goal. This is huge. Marrying the pursuit of the goal, but not the outcome of the goal. You have to, and this is what true leaders are, and this is what true people who accomplish things in life do, right? They say, okay, I have a goal. I'm going to keep stabbing at this goal every single day. I don't care what the results are, as long as I'm putting myself in a position where I'm actually pursuing this goal, okay? And so you become something, I don't like this phrasing, but it's like outcome independent, where you don't actually look at the results. The person who wants to get buff, their goal of getting buff is not actually the goal, right? The goal is actually to show up to the gym every day regardless. The real goal is the pursuit of the goal. It's kind of like a play on words, but this is the thing that makes people different. This is what makes people's like winners and the ones who actually set goals accomplish it, right? So it's really about pursuing the repetition and putting in the work, okay? Let's see. And so let me connect this to, I have two more things to say about goal setting, and then we'll talk. So goal setting. First thing is putting in the work, right? Just set the goal and then ask yourself, okay, what's all the things I have to do to accomplish this goal? And it doesn't matter if I get this goal today, tomorrow, next month, next half month, or next year. It's about putting in the work. And I'll give you this example. It's a very good example. Elon Musk, you guys all know who he is, right? He has this giant goal, get people to Mars. Okay, you guys heard of that goal? Great. Okay, that's his goal. You know what recently happened to one of his starships? It exploded. Great. Does it matter whether it exploded or not? No. Even if there's failure, as long as he was pursuing his goal, that he could learn a lot from that failure, but it was irrelevant, right? Because really, he's gonna get to Mars no matter what. Why? Because he's married to the pursuit of his goals, okay? So that's the first thing, being married to the pursuit of your goals. The second thing is, when you set goals, and this is a different paradigm that, I've heard from before. Sometimes when, people say like, when you set goals, you have to set SMART goals. You guys ever heard of SMART goals? Specific, measurable, attainable, resource bound, and timely, blah, blah, blah. That's like an old way of thinking about goals, okay? Goals imply it's something that you don't have right now at the moment, okay? It also implies that you have something else that's in place of that. So really, when you set goals, the real question that you have to ask and answer is, what am I willing to sacrifice currently to get to where I need to be? That's what goal setting really is. What am I willing to sacrifice for what I'm willing to become or willing to get next, okay? If you want $1 million, guess what? You have to sacrifice time working to get $1 million. You can't want $1 million and be playing video games all day. I mean, that's not. You want to get you want to get buff. You got to sacrifice your time by being in the gym, right? So when people set goals, it's fascinating because they don't think about what they have to sacrifice to get those goals. Okay, so that's number 2. And the last thing is this about goals, and this is all going to connect to Buddhism. The third thing about goals on a deeper level is that you have to detach yourself, right, from your current understanding and your current needs in order to elevate to the next level of understanding and the next level of needs. And I'll go back to just getting buff and weight loss and all that, right? If you, and this is kind of in tandem with part 2, right? But if you love dessert and chocolate, etc., but you want to get buff, technically, right, in your head, you're attached to this idea that you need to reward yourself with dessert, right? If you want to make it to the next level, you have to detach yourself from that idea and say, maybe I don't have to reward myself. I don't have to love dessert that much. And then give yourself a different type of paradigm to be attached to, something like that, right? Or something close to that, where it's like, I don't need this. I can learn to moderate myself and not eat as much dessert. And that's how you get to your goal of weight loss, okay? Anyway, all this talk about goals and stuff like that, how's that relevant to Buddhism? Because it's precisely what Buddhism is. It's Buddhism in a nutshell, but in a different framework. Let's talk about this, right? Enlightenment, nirvana, that's the goal. But the problem is, if you try to obtain enlightenment or nirvana, you're not going to get it, okay? You're not going to get it. Why? Because it's actually irrelevant whether you get it or not. What is relevant is the pursuit of it, okay? So you don't, when you guys show up here every single day, right, whether you guys are getting wiser or not, irrelevant. Are you showing up or not? Now that's relevant. Because I'll tell you, only time will tell. In the span of 20 years, the difference between those who show up and those who don't, right? You guys know a little bit more about Buddhism than those who don't, right? And here's the next really elegant and beautiful thing, which is, at the start, don't care about obtaining the goal, care about the pursuit. Just like in Buddhism, Literally, it's not about obtaining enlightenment and nirvana. It's about the pursuit of that. That's A. And then once you've put in the work, when you get to that level, the ultimate level, it actually truly becomes irrelevant, right? And when you're able to actually say, oh, this is actually irrelevant, I don't need nirvana, I don't need enlightenment, that's when you become enlightened. It's really interesting, okay? I don't know if you've experienced this, but in my experience, right? Oh, I know this. Here's an example. When I was younger, I went to Hunter, right? And I felt some type of way when I was introducing myself to people, and I had to say, they asked, oh, what college are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Hunter College, And I'm like very dismissive because it's not a big name school. I've always wanted an Ivy, right? And then I got, somewhere along the way, I got a master's degree at Teachers College at Columbia, right? And so now, great. There's it's an Ivy League name, right? Once I've gotten it, and people, I'm introducing myself, guess what I say? Hi guys, I'm from Hunter College. You don't see that? When I got the goal that I wanted, it suddenly became irrelevant to me. It didn't even matter at that point, right? Because, I don't know. So let me reshape that idea a little bit. But the thing is, when you've worked so hard and you become who you're supposed to be, trying to telegraph who you are and what you have is actually irrelevant. This is why rich people like Mark Zuckerberg or very rich people, they don't care what they wear because it's inside of them. So it's not about telegraphing anything anymore, right? Like they don't need the bling. They don't need any of that stuff, right? So in any case, Buddhism is not superficial, like you look on the outside, you wear a robe, right? Buddhism exists all in here, in your brains, okay? Right? And it's not about the outward appearance of looking wise and looking like, prestigious, whatever. No one cares about that. I'm pretty sure if the Buddha were alive, he certainly wouldn't care about that either, right? It's all, what he would care about is how much work did you put in trying to get enlightened, trying to be a little bit wiser, trying to really, truly understand the content of what he had to say, right? So that's that. Number 2, right? Which is what I mentioned earlier, about goals, which is when you set a goal, you have to be willing to ask yourself, what are you willing to give up to accomplish that goal, right? Buddhism kind of asks the same thing. And here's the challenge, right? You want to have a mind that is calm, peaceful, hyper-focused, sort of like what the Buddha is saying, right? The question is, do you give up 5 to 10 minutes a day yourselves to put in a meditation practice? Right? Yeah, that's it, pretty much. Everybody wants enlightenment or nirvana, whatever, but are they willing to exchange the work to get it, right? So think about that. Are they willing to sacrifice their Sundays to show up here to learn? Right? So that's that. And the last thing is, the key piece of what I mentioned earlier is the biggest challenge, which is what knowledge or attachments do you have that you have to let go of? Because that's truly what Buddhism is really about, right? Because these thoughts or these concepts that we are all attached to, they hold you back from evolving. They hold you back from moving on to the next level, right? And they are the source of your current suffering. And this is Buddhism. Life is suffering. The source of suffering is attachment. If you guys find yourselves suffering, I put it into quotation marks, of anything right now, If you wanted to know what the source of it is, ask yourself, what am I attached to at this current moment? Because when you learn to let go of that, all of a sudden you're able to rise to the next level, okay? Same thing with Buddhism. The idea is this. And all of Buddhism, the entirety of that philosophy says, hey, life is suffering, learn to let go, okay? Let go of, and then obviously it gets deeper, but, and we'll head into more discussion in the future, things about what it means to let go, because we've had that discussion before, but it's worth returning to, okay? Here's my last concluding piece, okay? Last statement. People look at Buddhism as a very passive religion. You know, people sit quietly in temples, etc. And they see it as quiet and inactive. Because it's not loud with words, right? It's not about charisma. Buddhism really is about putting in the work. It's quiet. It's silent. But the more you put in the work, the more clarity you have, the more conviction you have, and the more results you'll see. Okay? And that is literally the theory of life, according to the Buddhist philosophy and framework. Okay? So with that said, thank you for listening. I hope you guys are reflective enough. And I do have a goal for you guys. Right? Yeah, I know, it's funny. Usually you set a goal for yourself, but I have a goal with regards to, this teaching, this practice, right? Which is this. The best way for you guys to actually learn anything and internalize anything is for you guys to teach it back. So not now, right? But maybe towards the end of the year, the challenge would be for you guys to be able to teach a concept or any concept of Buddhism back, okay? So it's interesting, right? Because then it kind of puts you on the spot. And if you're not a public speaker, who cares? No one cares. It's not about the outcome. It's about the pursuit of the outcome, right? And, the reason why you know certain things very well is because you're forced to teach it, okay? So that's my goal for you guys, to know this deeply enough to be able to teach it again, okay? That's it. All right, thank you.